right, so today's video, we have a gold 3 tank on PC playing Domina. This is my second spectating of Domina recently, so this will be interesting to see. And they say this match had me confused in the nearly 9 years I've been playing this game. For the first time in my entire life, I was flamed for playing the high ground. My team, specifically my sim and Mercy, my sim said, tank on high ground, LOL, implying tanks should never play on high ground. Was going on about it so much I had to mute them for my mental. But I couldn't get over it. They just wanted to slam our faces into the payload all match. And the enemy team did the same thing most of the game, and this led to one of the longest matches I've ever played in gold. I won't tell you who won because I think it's more fun that way, but boy was it wild to watch my team hate the idea of high ground. Okay, so I do want to point out there will be cases where while I say how useful high ground is, and that is something that I do, is I'm like, hey, high ground can be useful. Another thing I've always given the advice on is play at the pace of your team. So we'll see what happens. I'll see if, these moments are the right play for you, if you should be low ground, high ground, and we'll go from there, okay? Okay, so... Yep. Okay, already, you got to be right here. And I know this is going to suck to hear this because I'm very much like adamant on the high ground. But like I'm looking at your team. You can't sit up here. The problem is that in theory, if you're on Sigma, it makes a little bit more sense because you can do damage around the walls and maneuver your shield. You need to go low ground right here and hold the corner. This is not my favorite. Like if I'm in a top 500 game, like we're probably going to play around the rotations of this part of the map. See, like you kind of play here. So the idea is that you control this area. But even as a tank, it's very common for me to drop down from here and hold this corner, because if you utilize this high ground and stop the cart right here safely, keep in mind the word is safely here because you don't want to stay here for too long if they overwhelm you. The idea is that you back up this way and then you control this part of the map and then you can sit here, etc. Why not just put the shield at the corner? I see no reason to put the shield at the corner and not drop down. I'm serious. Like, again, I'm looking at what I'm seeing on the field right now. There's no way your teammates would survive this. As you know, I'm very adamant about high ground, but this is where we're going to have to apply the other part of when I mentioned high ground. You have to play at the pace of your team. If you have a Bastion, Mercy, and a Bring on the low ground right now, and the only person on the high ground is Ash, your team's going to get rolled right here. The only way you're not going to get rolled is if your Bastion makes a miraculous play right away. Could happen, but if you keep doing this, it's going to be the same result. So we'll see how it plays out, but I will even drop here if the team is set up like this. There's the shield you mentioned, by the way, but again, the shield is not the only pressure here. Like, you need the tank there sometimes to alleviate the pressure. So if you have a shield, great, but then they break the middle of the shield, which is 250 damage. That's all you have to do, and now your teammate's susceptible again. If you're there as a tank, you're kind of in the way, so they're going to have to shoot at you, and then you can make plays to push them back. And again, what you need to think about is your rotation out. You're just going to rotate up and away this way. Do not go this way. This way is tough because you end up in this weird spot where you end up here, and then you have to do a really long rotation. If you can, safely disengage this way and use this as your cover. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So see, like, as your Bastion's up here, if you're here, you're now going to be kind of like keeping them at bay. Your Bastion's going to get more value up here, and then they're going to be distracted. Then if they turn for your Bastion, you can move up and kind of pressure them. So there's a lot of there's just a lot of plays that could be happening right now. So again, I don't mind you starting up here specifically, but I do think there's some value in holding the corner at a certain point. At this point, though, you're fine, because now the card's here, your teammate survived. So there's a spot where you can hold the card from here. And if you just go, like, nice shot, go, like, right up here, and eventually you can just hold the card from this spot. You were queue, it's been 20 minutes. Like, watch, when you get a little bit closer, it's going to say contested. They're going to show, like, 2 on the card. See how it says 1 now? Once you get that number to 2, you can hold it here, right? You can tethily hold it. So if it works the same way it used to. But like look at the low ground. Like again, the pace of your team. Your Brig's right here, you gotta drop, right? Don't get me wrong, I love to play high ground, but you gotta drop. It sucks but also your Brig gets more value. Imagine a tank here, now your Brig can proc Inspire more. There's a lot that can happen here. Sorry, I know I'm being adamant about that, but I know you were a bit confused as to like why your team wanted you on the low ground. Again, I'm not, truthfully, I think it's more of your teammates setting up things correctly than it's on you to make that clear. But sometimes if your teammates set up incorrectly and they don't want to change your spots, you know what? It's one of those, like, if you can't beat them, you got to join them, and that's where you're at, so. Yep. Yeah, to make it clear, that initial position by your team is generally going to go in favor of the other team most of the time. Now you've dropped. This is good. Yeah.
68 months.
You kind of just spamming some buttons.
To 69 Lisa.
Here, rather than sit in the middle, play the cover. I know your teammates are getting pressured, but you need to play cover here so that way you have the ability to back away from extra damage. You want to force them to have to push past to get kills rather than go into them and give them free kills. So it's been a rough first point for you, but it's not like all specifically on you. This all stems from your teammates' rough positioning to start. But then at that point, you can sit there and use that reasoning all day long, but eventually you gotta move up with them. So that's why I want to pause for a second to kind of give people an idea on something here. You're going to hear me give advice in every single one of these videos about different things. In Overwatch, there's a lot of like nuance and a lot of things that shift. So for one video, I might suggest, hey, stay up here the whole time. The next video, I don't. And one thing to pay attention to is why I'm giving them that reasoning. For example, if all your teammates are set up on the high ground there, I have no problem when you sit up on the high ground and just playing around the map and kind of slowly like tapping the cart, right? That's generally what you get in top 500. But if all your teammates are on the low ground, you have to make that adaptation. So you might watch 3 Route 66s. I'll have different advice at the moment because Overwatch is also a game that you need to kind of adapt in real time. Like I can give you all the X's and O's too, right? One of the reasons why I don't sit there and overanalyze with X's and O's sometimes is because it just isn't going to work like a pro match, right? I want to teach you the ability to adapt for each game rather than just like, this is the clear-cut way to do it, because there isn't a clear-cut way to do it in Overwatch unless you're in pro play, and even then, it takes one random Zenyatta right-click or some random play to change that right away. So the point I'm making is you're going to see different advice, but the idea is to learn how to adapt as quick as you can to what your teammates are doing. I mean, that's something I try to do. In fact, if you watch me play, you'll hear me sometimes going, dude, I should have done that sooner. Like, and what I mean by that is I recognized there was something I needed to adjust for the team, and I didn't do it soon enough. So by the time I did it, it's either too late in the game or on our back foot, and I need to, like, you know, fix it from there. So anyway, I mean, they're going good. How about yours? I recorded the Mizuki one yesterday. Yeah, you're going to start seeing a few videos. I recorded like what? This will be after today. I've recorded like 4 Spectating, some new Spectating. So we were doing these ones because everything's about to go. So far, you're doing fine. You don't need to drop just yet. I would not recommend dropping from here just yet. If your teammates are getting mad at you for dropping here, that's the incorrect play. Because like, let me kind of explain this to you. There's certain points where like the cart progression doesn't make a huge difference. Route 66 second point, in my opinion, is one of them. Because the moment you stop this cart at any point, the moment you win a team fight, they have to run all the way from here, all the way back up through 3 small chokes. Choke number 1, choke number 2, choke number 3. Get through these chokes smoothly, control the high grounds, then push the cart all the way here while having to deal with all of the high ground around them. On paper, this is one of those maps where don't necessarily worrying about getting 5 people to the cart right away. Worry about winning the team fight because the map should carry a couple minutes of this game. In theory, of course, right? So this one is a little bit more wiggle room of like not dropping down. Because I do believe that the positioning for this map, like look at what you're doing right here. Like look at where you're at. Look how much vision you have of everything they're doing. Like you don't even have to like, you don't have to drop because it doesn't matter if they get an extra 5 meters right now. Because like that extra 5 meters doesn't make a difference. So in this situation, your teammates actually should be more on the high ground, even more so than first point, and surround them. And the only way to give up free team points or team fights to them is to do exactly what just happened. Your team just starts dropping down to the cart and gives up like pristine positioning just to try to stop an extra few meters, which in return, rather than winning the team fight, you lose the team fight and you lose the whole point. So that one's a little bit different for me. I do believe that if your teammates were mad about that one, about dropping down, I actually think that your whole team made the... Don't drop down there is what I'm saying. I really do. I do think Route 66 is one of those maps on second point that gets carried by that point. Also, great play there. For anybody wondering, the interactions with the wall. So when you do that, make sure you're aiming towards a wall. I actually recently watched a VOD of a Domina player who wouldn't do that with D.Va, where I was like, dude, just slam D.Va with that ability to the wall, and you're going to literally just demech him over and over again. Never did that. So, but yeah, anyway, that was my second point take. Of course, like, again, if we look at the hindsight, you probably just drop down with your team on second point. I don't like that. I don't like that doing that. I like this ult, by the way. I do like this ult. Good ultimate, good aggressive play, being decisive with your decision making. So far, I'm not too worried about your mechanics. I feel like your mechanics are fine for what, you know, for being in gold. I really believe this has just been a decision making game, which that can be some of the games. You can have good mechanics and everything on your screen. You're like, I'm hitting my shots. Why are we losing? It's the rest of the game where you can lose that. So I like this pressure you're taking an angle, just to show people why this is kind of a cool position. If your teammates are here and they can take care of this doorway and you're right here, this team is, look at the impossible situation they're in, right? Look at the point of view they have. What do you do here? You got to clear one side, but if this side is taken care of by a Cassidy and this side is taken care of by a team of Sim, Domina, and Brig, you know, what options do they have, right? They have to clear a side out, but if they don't clear a side out, this is how you gain all that time back. So this is a pretty good setup by you and your team. You can go back and forth between left and right side here if you would like. I do think that as long as your team controls that right side, like with the Brig, you're going to be good. So, but so far, this is good. Now, we'll go forward a little bit. Yes, go forward. And I would go even a little bit more forward there. Get the Sigma. Like, right now, that Sigma was out of position behind you. Finally goes down there, I think, on accident. But you're doing mostly this right? I just saw the first ever on-run ult kill. That's rare. Not really, but it's tougher. There you go. Good job doing the damage against the wall. Holding the cart. There it is. Oop. Yeah, I mean, okay, like, I want to get you in the mindset of this. When you get into these, like, really long duels, I want you to start thinking cover. One of the easiest ways to get trades is to start to prioritize your positioning when you're in a lost team fight. You have two options. You either A, just run it at an honor and try to kill the honor right away, or B, you play cover and debate one of them into you, because there's going to be somebody who runs at you. This happens even in top 500, where somebody has to get that a limb, right? So they run at you. Set yourself up for a trade here rather than just like sitting on the cart and running in circles. Again, easier said than done, but any trades you get here because they don't have a mercy, that's an easy retake for you. Trades are super important in Overwatch. If a team fight is lost, any elim that you can get, even if it's just to get a mercy res out if they do have a mercy, can go a long way for the next team fight. So think about that sometimes. But I want you to start to prioritize going to cover more than just going to the middle of the point. I really do think sometimes you're doing that, and you end up in the middle. Go to the... Nope, you gotta be... Okay. This is on you. You can't hesitate there, right? You have to assume that Sigma's gonna have that ultimate since you haven't heard that ultimate in a while. You can't sit there. Like, if they're gonna lift you up, you want them to do it when you're on the cart, right? Do not be hesitant here. That's the worst thing you can do in that situation. Just go to the cart. You're the one on there. If they lift you up and win that way, great. But if you're on the cart, there's a chance that they do it a little bit sooner, and there isn't enough time to get you off the cart, even with that ultimate, or it gives more opportunity. Like, that hesitation play you made was basically, at least in my opinion, the make or break of this team fight. I felt like that straight up was the make or break. So, of that hesitation. Now, of course, when I say make or break, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to win the team fight. But I'm looking at your ultimates. You have actually great retake ults. You're going to have a Domina ultimate. You have a Symmetra wall. Like, that's a pretty clean team fight win for you. So, hesitation, be careful there. All right, this is where I imagine y'all are typing and getting angry at each other. Again, I do think, like, first point, there was a couple spots where you needed the drop, and there was a couple spots that, truthfully, where your team didn't know how to position. Oh, wow, I just tried doing positioning, and then I tried to do it together, and because I'm learning how to do that, and I just made a new word. Positioning. There we go. Yep. Now against the D.Va here, remember, utilize your ability to knock the D.Va against the wall. Another thing as a reminder here for people playing against D.Va, if you're playing Domina, the left click right now, when it's a beam, goes through defense matrix, the shot is what does it. So you can still put some decent pressure on a D.Va when you normally wouldn't be able to as, let's say, a Sigma unless you hit a rock. So you do have the ability and the pressure to actually, like, heck with D.Va. Also, I don't think it needs to be said that the target focus there by your team was not ideal. There was a baby D.Va on the top left side of you the whole time that nobody shot at. That D.Va remecking was actually miraculous to me that y'all let that happen. So, here you go. Good play. Okay. I don't mind the ult. Yeah, okay. Listen, I need to teach you about space creation because I think right now you have an idea of what you're supposed to do, but you're not creating space. So in this situation, remember when you had them backed up here? You don't lose this spot anymore. This spot right here is now yours. So what you should have done, and this is all hindsight, of course, is when you started to have them backed up here, you needed to get your shield right here. This means that anybody on this side is going to get isolated. Anybody over here can't really do anything. And then you end up winning this team fight. Keep in mind, this D.Va has remeched not once, but twice in a situation where D.Va never should have remeched. I'm not going to put it all on you, but I do need to point out to you that as a tank, you do need to create that space for your teammates. If you're playing DPS and your tank is right in front of you and your tank doesn't move up, are you generally going to go in front of your tank? Well, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I wouldn't. Why? Because I know that I can get killed there. I want to take an angle, but if my tank isn't pushing up and creating that space for me, I'm going to play more hesitant. Right now, this point has become difficult because your team didn't go and take this map control when it was right here. This was for the taking, this right here. You had every opportunity. So next time, go up here, put a shield here once it's ready, right? And you control this area. Anybody behind you, your teammates can help you with. If they don't, that's on your teammates, right? You're fine. You have it. You had them isolated. You had 3 people over here, maybe 4. They have to drop down, right? And there you go. So the point I'm making, at least in my opinion right now, you're just very hesitant. So space creation is key. And I'm trying to show you simple ways to create space without feeling like you have to go and get 5 limbs. Because like sometimes that space creation doesn't require any limbs. It just requires you being there and taking away a part of the map. So did all that time wasted there typing. I mean, again, they did say that like the sim was very adamant to never play high ground. So I think this is just something that's going through each. It's just like the previous round is still in the mind of their teammate for some reason. Although I do have to say, like, your space creation needs work. Like, yes, your teammate is definitely like not giving you the best feedback on playing the high ground correctly or things like that by saying don't play high ground. But I do believe that your space creation could use a lot of work. You see that team fight where you all just push that way? That's what should have happened prior. You eventually capped the point, but I think you would have had another minute extra if it wasn't for that whole sequence on the end of that first point. So, perk-wise, it looks like you took the... I don't even know what one you took. Is that the range one? I think it's the range one, right? Oh, I guess this is a little bit of a note. In your options on Domina, there's a button to give you a range indicator. Do you see the blue circle in between the crosshair? That's a new option they added right in Stadium initially, and then they brought it into the game now fully. It's basically a range indicator. And what this range indicator means is it tells you if you're in range of your beam. So what you can do is you go to options, but you go to Domina, you go to Hero and HUD, you scroll down, is an option called Show Weapon Range Indicator. If you so choose, it will add a little circle right like this. You can see I have an orange circle. So if someone's in range of my beam, I'm able to actually know if I'm on range of them. Yep. Keep in mind during this, you can just to make it clear, during the Mizuki ultimate, same concept as Diva. You can use the beam damage through the Mizuki ult. I would ult this too. Yep, excellent ult. I love what you did here. This is what I mean by being a little bit more aggressive and proactive. I think that normally you would let them disengage there. Now, obviously, like, your team is slowly getting the kills, but as they stagger out here, this is huge. I love that play. It's funny because maybe by the time this VOD is out, the other video I'm referencing will be out. The last Domina we watched refused to use ultimate in those situations, and all I was saying was like, please use an ult, please use an ult, please use an ult. When is the next like new drops for Overwatch? Probably mid-season, which I think is like, I think their current schedule of drops, if you notice, this one goes to the 8th. I want to say probably around the 10th will be the next set of drops. I think that will probably be mid-season. So yeah, they do a frequent amount of Twitch drops. If you ever want to get them, they're, you know, we're always streaming a ton. People know that by now during drops. During this, you need to start backing up a little bit, and this is recognizing that the Rhine is going to be. Yep, there you go. Now, when I say back up, right? Let's pause for a second. Backing up here does not mean, go all the way here because they have a Reinhardt, right? I want to reiterate to people that when I'm saying back up here, it means that I want you to back up. I basically want you to back up to a safe spot so where if a Rhine pushes you, your teammates can help. Right now, you're in the correct spot. What I would recommend is recognizing the Mizukis here and kill the Mizuki. Eventually, what you can do is you can kind of slowly rotate around this Rhine. And what you want to do, look where your Cassidy is. Look where like your team is. You want this Rhine to look at you. Believe it or not, that's what I want you to do in this situation. I want this Rhine to have to flip their shield to at any point make their shield go this way. Because if you go this way and kill the Rhine, it's game over for the Rhine. The Rhine has to turn for you. What that does is it puts pressure here. And if the Rhine charges you here, you're still safe for your team. Do you see how this kind of works? So you have to just don't, that's how I would play this here, because obviously I'm going to play it a little bit safer just in top 500, but there's a way to kind of maneuver around this, or your teammates can get the kills, and then your Rhine, yep, there you go. The Rhine charged exactly what I was mentioning. Didn't get the pin on you, but see what would happen if they did pin? You went the other route, which is fine, and you did the same thing. You got the Rhine to turn the shield from your other teammates, and everything grinds out. So just wanted to show people that sequence. I felt like you played that pretty well. I have no like other notes on that. I was happy with your approach. There you go. Ooh, you went with the, I like that. So this is actually a great decision here, chat, and I was going to actually bring this up too. Great perk choice here, and this is something I've been recommending previously here. If you play against a Reinhardt or a Ramatra, and you basically know they're going to counter swap you and do those type of plays, getting the perk that normally I go with the slow perk with the crystal where you slow them. But this is a situation where I love this one because the Reinhardt's going to want to push into you aggressively. The perk they went with is the one when you push them into your shield that counts as a wall. Excellent perk decision against what they're running. I think this is an excellent perk decision. Good job on that. Because now, like, if the Rein pushes into you, they're going to feel threatened by that wall, and you can keep pushing them into it when your cooldown's up. So that's a very good choice by you. Emery, thanks for the Prime sub. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Excellent, excellent choice. Yep. Yep. This is exactly what I'm talking about. No, 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 no. Do not back up. Do not back up. Do not back up. No, no, no. Take the space. Yes, yes, yes. Keep that space. You don't need to go to cart. Even if... Let me give you an idea so people understand this. You need to look at where the cart's at. Even if you have 3 on cart, you're going to have one more team fight. So what you want to do is you want to deny the space of these doorways. You start at this doorway like this. What you would do... This is what I would do. I would go here, angle my shield like this. Why I'm doing this? To get vision of the Rein, right? How often have you, like, gone over here and you're playing like this, trying to, like... You're like, oh, I'm isolating them. This is going great. And then this Rein charges. So what you do... is you actually take this angle, you put a shield that will kind of isolate this side a little bit, and now you have 2 DPS isolated. You have vision of their Reinhardt. You can also ping people going out this way, and now you have full control. But do not back up in this situation because it gives them a retake. Now, I assume you're going to win this eventually because I think that you have the ultimates, but I wanted to kind of show you a bit of like a different way to approach this and how you can be effective while also doing what you're, you know, by also being helpful for your team. Is it worth shooting the shield at all as Domina? Yeah, well, I guess a Rein, yes, because you want to grind it down. Unless you're saying, yeah, because like you want to grind that Rein shield down no matter what. Either way, they get out, but you have the ultimates, I think, to be able to take this. We'll see if the shatter. Yep, good job. You can crystal through shields, by the way, which is that. So, again, I still would have liked the other approach out of you, but it works. I mean, your ultimate's carried through that. Just kill the soldier. You don't even need to do anything. Yep, good melee in between that. So I saw a little bit of aggression out of you after a while, but I do think you need to be more space creative with what you're doing. So, a good play there. Let's continue on. You said Sim has a really high win rate, does she? I mean, Sim's been performing well for a long time. Okay. I would take top left control here if you really want to do something. The reason why you go top left is to get him off that part of the high ground. At the same time, I can understand your hesitation considering your teammates were really mad at you for playing high ground at one point. So, I understand the hesitation. Really good snap right there. I don't know what to call it. The crystal. Remember, a little bit of a note. When Sigma's eaten, you can still do damage to the Sigma. They'll eat the shot, but they won't eat the beam damage. And I don't think you'll give them enough overhealth on that one to... I think you'll do more damage than the overhealth, but I could be wrong. But just a note. Yep. There it is. Nice. Yeah, I mean, if you're asking should you stack card here, you're pushing the card. Yeah, you're fine on card. Ambitious ult. Again, I like the aggression. Just, you got away with the first aggressive one because all the squishies were stacked in that situation. Don't be afraid to get a little bit closer. But I'd rather see you be aggressive with the ultimate and miss it than never use it at all. So, yep, see how your sim is just beaming through that? You do the same thing. Good job. And Anron's out. So you're good for now. Yep. On what tank counters, what tank. I just like everybody's gonna tell you that like D.Va like is countered by Zarya, but like I have no problem playing against the Zarya as D.Va. Do you see what I'm saying? So I get really hesitant on trying to give people direct counters to stuff because I do think there's more to just like hard counter versus hard counter, right? I think like sometimes with D.Va nowadays you need more than just like a Zarya. You need like a Sim or like a Mei or like a, you know, something that can be very disruptive, right? Great job there on the kill. Much better job of going a little bit to the right. Space creation was a little bit better there. Actually, I say that, and I think you did that. I kind of was answering that question and zoned a little bit, so if I'm wrong and you hear that. It looked like you took the space creation better this time. Yeah, this is fine. If you want to know what I would do in this situation, chat, I wouldn't do this. There's apparently just like a dance line going on right now. Everybody's just dancing, having a good time. Truthfully, what you do in this situation is you leave your Brig on cart or your Mercy on cart. No, or your Sim. Either way, anybody but you, and you just quickly wrap around up here and play from like right here. What this means is that if they try to engage out, they're going to have to run into you. You can then drop down and help this way, and your team has some ultimates to stay there. I think Mercy would be the best bet with Valk, but I would recommend being a little bit more proactive on your aggression here. Like, what you want to do in these situations and understand why it's important, you want to get their cooldowns out. I don't expect you to go up here and kill 5 and just win the team fight. If you do, great. But the idea here is to make Sigma use E. It's to get Sigma's shield down early. It's to Maybe Kiriko feels the need to pop Kitsune much sooner. Reaper has to use Fade. Sometimes I think that's how I have to explain it, because like you're like, well, why do I want to take this map control if I want to get the card pushing? Any cooldown you get out pre-fight is going to be so important. I'm telling you, I think people massively underestimate how important it might be just to get out 2 Brig packs during a team fight. How to get Mizuki to use a chain, you know, a swift step. That can make or break a team fight later on. It doesn't seem like a lot, but I'm telling you, in these type of team fights, in these type of overtime situations, creating any small advantage is such a win for your team. Oh, I know about the staying on card part. Again, I minimize, so it just sounds gone for a second, but I know it can be rough in overtime. Even I do that sometimes. It's easier said than done, but when all 3 of your teammates are willing to stack on card, I'm like, okay, this can happen. We can do this. Now you would pop your ult. Excellent ult. Keep in mind, this ultimate will also stop damage on your teammates because it's going to... Like, the shield basically is like defense matrix, if you think about it. It's like a shield. Oh, nice play. Good job right there. You stopped the Reaper ultimate. Excellent reaction. Remember, you can stun those ultimates when you push them against the wall. Now, I would say just wait and spawn or switch to a fast hero. Okay, you're good, and use the thing. Chat, anybody new to the game? Again, listen. Most people know this by now, but I have heard that there's been some returning players who didn't even play Overwatch 2. A change they made early Overwatch 2, there's like something in spawn. You just hit your interact key, and it will give you the forward spawn. Just a note there, most people know this by now, but there's been people actually in comments recently who said, holy crap, I didn't know that was a thing now. So, yeah, Gibraltar's kind of where they started it on. That's why I think that was their vision when Gibraltar had that problem getting snowballed. So, yep. No, it was a good change. So yeah, you can use, basically you can go forward spawns and not run all the way back during that. Yeah. He said it doesn't work on push though. There are maps it doesn't work on, but believe it or not, there's a thing on push where, if I'm correct, you can go back a spawn. I think on push, if you get, say the spawn door closes on you, you can, there's an option to like go either back a spawn or forward a spawn. I forgot how it works. But I think in push you go backwards so that way you don't get stuck. So say you have forward spawn and then they capture the checkpoint. If you have a weird timing where the checkpoint closes, you can hit the interact key and go back. I don't use it a ton because most of the time it kind of flows to where you're like, you're going to be fine as a team in that situation. But there is a world where like if you need to reset and they're set up for it, you have a timing to go backwards and push when you lose that forward spawn. Anyway, just wanted to put that there too. There's no other spawning control, so it would not be in control. No. You only have one spawn. Good push by your team, though. That other tank is is trying to figure it out. So, am I snowed in for the blizzard? Oh, I have no power right now. I'm running on a generator. Well, again, I say I have no power. I have power, but you know what I mean. Like, if I turn my generator off, there's no power. Yeah. Shield up. Yep. I like the idea. That one's a tough one to do because, like, technically if the on-run lands in between, like, it wouldn't even matter. I would actually all in the Orisa soon. I think this Orisa's killable. But try not to, a little bit of a note, because you can headshot with the shot from your beam after. Try to aim for the head a little bit more in those situations rather than like Orisa's ankles. Because you could actually do a crit damage headshot once you like, you know, do the beam into the shot. So pretty good attack there. Like I didn't have many notes there. That was just, you got overtimed. Like they had a nut punch of ults. You didn't. They got a couple picks. You're fine. Like that was still, in my opinion, a really good go of things. Drop down. Just do it. You just trust me. I know what you're just do it. Look at your team. Just do it. You just drop down. I'm telling you, if your team is all doing that, you're right there with them. Be there. I know your vision is, oh, I put a shield for you. You should be fine. This isn't like an off angle and Sojourn in a pro match where you put a shield as like Sigma. This is a you be there for your team. Jessica, thanks for the 13 months of the tier 1, right? Much better dropping down here. Yep. I think you did too late. Again, you can't, you don't want to give up the corner. And your problem right now is you're giving up the corner. Straight up. Do not give up this corner because you're giving them more map control now. See? You basically have lost this section of the map all because you dropped too late. So, again, sometimes you got to play at the pace of your team. Do I recommend that as an every time setup when you're playing Route 66? Absolutely not. But a gold game is going to play like a gold game, right? That's how that is. I can give you what's going to happen as you climb, but sometimes in gold games, you're just going to slam the cart and you got to adapt to it. And what I'm doing is I'm going to give you the knowledge of where to start. If you do got out of gold, the next thing you know, you're in diamond and more people are set up on high. Now you already have that knowledge going forward, right? So, but if your teammates are all down there, play at the pace of your team. It will go much better. people default long range as Domina. I mean, the playstyle definitely promotes that, yeah. But you do want to take space, though. Like, even at Sigma, you want to take space creation, right? Like, it's... Also, I want to remind you, they captured the point. They captured the point, just so you know. So, they're going to be behind you. Because they just... I hope they recognize this. To your left. Make sure to pay attention to that sometimes, chat. I don't know if their team knew that or not, but, man, the way this was being played... Also, going back to earlier, remember how I said that the way that your team is playing at that pace? Look at, like, what's happened for, like, your Brig and your teammates. It's enabled so much more playmaking ability that, you know, you can see the value of it. I'm okay with this. They're gonna be on, once you kill them, they're not gonna spawn until overtime. So as long as they keep snowballing, I think you'll be okay here. At the very least, you're gonna get their ult pull out, but you could just swap soldier ult here and... Okay, they're going to spawn up now, every single one of them. Honestly, you might lose this team fight. But that's okay if you do. Like, if you lost this team fight, that's okay. I know that sounds rough, but, like, you got their... I don't know, actually. I was going to say that, but then your team over-ulted. I'm a little bit concerned on this retake. I think your team over-ulted that. I like that until your team popped every single ultimate. Okay, let's see what happens. Do not run to the cart. Good reaction. Very well played. You can res this too. After the Bastion ult. I was kind of hoping that they would wait a second, but you know, I wasn't thinking they'd go for it right away. You know, hey, listen. I guess to each their own on that one, right? You don't have to drop down here. You can stay up there. Okay. This is a bit of a mistake I see people make sometimes. You have to recognize the situation. There's no point to keep yourself in a long overtime spawn when all you need to do is back up. What value do you get out of stopping the cart now with intense overtime spawns? 0. All you're doing is helping the other team. So, kind of putting that out there. All right? See how long you are waiting here? Like you could have already be up there with your team at the corner ready to go. Also, here's the stat line for anybody wondering while we're running back with spawn. Huge pick by both the teams. Your team's now doing the let's run to their team in overtime and give them free kill strategy. This is why it's on the bingo card usually. That Reaper is low. Okay, that Reaper has decided that maybe being too aggressive to play. Actually, I think your team's going to win this. I mean, they lost 2. You can ult this as long as you're inside of the ult. Do not ult when they're in. Okay, just to make this clear, if you're inside the ultimate, you can ult them. When you're inside the ultimate with them, you can do damage. When you're outside of it, the only thing that you can do damage is with the beam. Do not send your ultimate into Mizuki ult. But I do feel like you've played too aggressive again. So here we go. Yep. Your team's doing the exact thing that loses games in overtime. Your team had, just to kind of put it into perspective, your team got multiple picks to where they were down in numbers, and your team's reaction was run at them in a straight line and do the thing. So this was a team effort loss in general. For you, I need to see more space creation out of you, and I try to give you more details on what to do there. I want you to be more, like, understanding of cover. Like, I feel like sometimes you just gravitate towards the middle, take a bunch of damage, and have nowhere to go. You want to have multiple ways. When you back up, you're going to go through this doorway. When you go here, you're going to have a wall. When you're playing up front, if you need to go to a different spot, you have cover. You need to prioritize that. But overall, like, the high ground discussion you mentioned, as I brought up, like, play at the pace of your team. I mean, yes, I think the Route 66 setup by your team wasn't the best. But again, that's, if you have 4 other teammates who want to play the low ground, you're right there with them. So it's about adapting in real time to those situations. So clean up a lot of what we mentioned, and I think you're gonna climb. I think you'll be fine. But once you got to start getting the space creation. You got to start, you know, just being up there. You have to understand the situations you're in, and I think you just need to adapt more in real time. And once you do that, you're gonna be fine. You got this. You absolutely got this. If you like the video, make sure to the like button, subscribe to the YouTube. If you haven't, leave a comment. All of that helps. If you want to submit your own Spectating, my Discord is where to do that. If you want to watch more about, you know, some of the heroes and learn more about the game, click this video right here. It's going to be a good one. With that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.